today's session we have human first, the competitive advantage AI can't replace. So everyone please welcome to the stage Chia, Powell, Olivia Coleman and Tracey Bailey.
So AI is something which I'm sure over the last couple of days you've heard a lot about AI. I don't think there's probably been a session where AI hasn't been mentioned. And most of you are either likely in the throes of it and actively in it, building out new tools in AI, and some of you may be more at the experimental stage. So I have the pleasure of moderating this panel. We're going to have three fantastic founders of three very different businesses, all in different stages of their AI journeys. And so what we're going to be here to do is just understand a little bit more about how they're using AI within their business. But before I do that, I'm going to throw over to them for an introduction about who you are and what do you do. So, Ellen.
Hi, I'm Ellen. I'm the founder of the Somewhere Co. and Somewhere Fashion. So we are known for our lunch bags and picnic wear for adults and kids, and now we do fashion too.
I'm Tracey. I'm the founder of Biome. I started Biome about 23 years ago. I think this is about my 20th time at this expo. I love it and what I get out of it. We're a sustainability lifestyle store. We sell everything to help you live with less toxins, less waste, and to have a more gentle impact on the planet.
Hi guys, I'm Liv. I am the founder of an Australian clothing label called All Things Golden. So we focus on slow fashion, the capsule wardrobe. It's like a minimalist dream wardrobe. I started the business when I was 24 and have grown up with it and through it. So yeah, hopefully have a unique perspective based on that today.
Well, let's kick off with you, Liv. So in terms of your perspective, how are you currently using AI and what role does it play at All Things Golden?
Yeah, so I think I'm probably on the far end of the spectrum on this panel. We're not using AI as much as I would like. So I don't know if any of you came to my talk earlier today. And partly that decision has been strategic and partly a resource issue. So I know that when you're faced with challenges, you can sort of default to optimizing, how do we save costs, how do we do things quicker, better, less overheads. But over the last 12 to 24 months, we've been faced with some pretty challenging things like tariffs. And with one person as a sole founder at the head of the business, I was sort of faced with decisions where I either had to double down on efficiencies and tech. I had that option. That's what was screaming at me. That was what everyone was saying. Or I stopped, listened to my intuition, what made my business great in the first place, and that was my brand, my community, my values, which were really authentic to me. So I decided to put all of my energy back into that, which was in turn what's made us now see over 100% year-on-year growth during a really challenging time with no AI.
Fantastic. I love to hear that. And I think that's probably something as well where you can't ignore those fundamentals of your business and what makes you great, and using AI more as an additive to that. So, Tracey, Biome, how are you currently looking at AI?
So we're using AI in three ways at the moment. Firstly is for analytics and what I referred to as using it as an aggregator and a calculator, just taking away the need for all of the calculations that have to happen in the business to free up time for more strategic things. Analytics, if anyone's on Shopify, Sidekick needs to be your new best friend. It's the power in Sidekick is amazing. We use it for content, but extremely careful about not using what AI actually writes. Use it for research to stimulate ideas, because we are all in a race at the moment to surface for AI. I've been right through SEO era and so on. You need to be keeping up with content on your website for all of those questions that people are asking about your products. So I use it a lot for content. And I believe that that's actually, for our business, content is what is helping us keep our cost of customer acquisition down. I think we have a pretty low one. Happy if anyone wants to tell me different, but our cost of acquiring a new customer is about $22, and we have a 40% repeat purchase rate. And I think that that is because we don't have to spend as much on Facebook and Google. We do it through content, so that's where AI helps us. And the third part is we have a customer service chat bot on our site, and I'm in love with it. I've heard people say we haven't found a chatbot yet because it's weird or it doesn't say, I love mine, it's so good.
Did you hear about the McDonald's chatbot, which will, which you can make an order, but before you make an order, it will actually answer like complex computational programming questions for you.
I had that happen. Somebody asked the question, so I just went straight into the prompt and said, next time somebody's being a smart ass on our website, deflect.
Love that. So it does still need guardrails as well. And I'll get back to that very shortly as well. But before we do that, Ellen, now very, very apt that you and Liv are sitting on opposite ends of here because you have taken the complete extreme position on the other side. Tell us a little about how the Somewhere Co is using AI.
Yes, we are completely on the other scale. With a very balanced view, what we're here to talk about today, but we have AI in pretty much every part of our business already and are furthering that in every single way. But I have OpenClaw, she is called Ellery, and with that everything is plugged in, and I get a lot, like personally, a lot of my deep founder work, is a bit of back and forth with her. But when it comes to marketing, we're using it for our analytics, a little bit of our content generation, image gen, amplifying kind of what we're doing there, operations, inventory. I'm currently with the team building out a whole inventory system that is more custom to us, and we have projects over the next year basically to get into deeper work. So we also use, say, Sin 7. The goal is to replace Sin 7. Sorry if anyone in the room is here from there. But yeah, just making things a lot more custom to our business in every way so that we are able to move forward quicker, basically. But it is there in some way, shape or form. CS, we've been using the gorgeous AI chatbot. She sometimes causes us a bit of grief. Like telling customers they're not going to get their orders before Christmas was so fun. But yes, AI, and I know we're going to talk about this a little bit more, but it's what you put in. So even that example I just gave, that's because we weren't controlling it properly. But yeah, we've got it everywhere.
And you said before about this is something which you're really embedding across the entire team. How does that journey look like for you to start getting people adopting it? Because I've seen lots of different businesses try to implement AI across the organisation in very different ways. Some of it a very siloed approach, some from a very top-down approach. How has it been at the Somewhere Co?
Well, I think it starts with our values. So one of our values is find the better way. So the team were basically given no option. But no, as a founder, it's really important to get everyone on board, showing why, how it impacts them, and like they don't have to upload images to the website anymore, so they can actually do cool shit. So I think it's demonstrating to the team and getting everyone on board is first things first. And now I can't even keep up with the team. They're like, when am I getting my bot? I'm like, it's coming. But we also have external people, our IT company, helping us implement everything because I don't have time to do my own OpenClaw. So it's a bit of both. It's getting the team on board and getting external help. And yeah, just educating on tools, giving people the time to experiment, and giving, again, guardrails. Like obviously we use Claude, giving some baselines, and different divisions need different tools. So it's my job to kind of give some framework with some experimental time.
And Liv, going back to your experience, you talked before about there being an opportunity cost, either investing into AI versus focusing on your brand and your community. Tell us, like, with your thinking, like, where does that human element come into it? Because obviously people and humans, your community, your team, your own time are really important. Like, how do you factor that into your decision making, and particularly now when you're starting to maybe think about using AI a bit more?
So human first has always been a huge value of mine. So I suppose like tying it back to your business values is really important. And I have built my business off being a people person and caring about people as well. So I just wanted to be really intentional and careful about how I go about implementing AI and making sure that I've got all of the information before I move ahead with anything. And it's moving so fast. You don't have all of the information just yet. And I'm so, like, you know, it sounds amazing and I'm jealous. And, you know, we talked in the previous panel about like the FOMO of missing out too. But I think for me, I'm trying to turn the blinkers on a little bit and not get too worried about the FOMO and just focus on like the value that I know I'm creating through people and the human touch. And I do see that value, in my personal opinion at the moment, outweighs the value of the efficiencies that I would make with AI. So it's not like choosing one over the other. It's just I had to focus on that. I felt like that was going to be more valuable for me than AI. But then hopefully what I'm going to do is that whilst it's moving very fast, there's going to be a lot of people like you who are really switched on that can figure out how to do it, and they're not new anymore. Everyone's been doing that for the whole year. So I'm hoping to pick up those people after 12 months' time and get them to help me integrate it in a meaningful way after having already fixed all of the trials and tribulations.
Yeah, so making sure you're getting the business fundamentals, the foundations there first, rather than using AI to kind of paper over the cracks.
Yeah, correct. Like, obviously having the right infrastructure is important, but if you don't have the audience, then like, what are you doing? So I've just put my focus on the audience first. And that also ties into your work culture too. So it's not just, well, I see our community not just as our external community and our customers. I see my team as part of like one giant community. And it's really important that, yeah, they feel valued and that we're still creating chemistry within our team and that they're still loving what they're doing. So I see that as very fragile and something that I take really seriously as well.
Yep. And Ellen, similarly with Somewhere Co, like how are you factoring in the human side of things, both from your people, where you talked before about they had no choice, they had to implement it, but then also making sure that you keep your customer front of mind as well with this?
So I think AI is actually helping us develop our brand and community even further. So and this is again the message to the team, we're a very customer first brand, we're very brand led. We're now making more hires only in brand and creative and expanding our content team. So the efficiencies that we are seeing from AI that are the bottlenecks are now being removed so that we are only amplifying that more. So I don't think it's in any way taking us over here. We're just doing both at once.
And so similar to what Liv was just talking about. So Tracey, then, like you've been in business for over 20 years. You were talking about SEO before. So you've kind of been through the trials and tribulations of different technological changes over that period as well. Where do you think AI sits compared to some of the other shifts which have happened in the market over that time?
Tectonic. It's a tectonic shift. In preparation for today's session, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about AI, and it hadn't quite dawned on me yet just how massive this is going to be. A little example of one of the things I learned from the podcast, which just put it into perspective for me, because I respect, of course, where you're at, but I do think that unless we're all putting aside some time in our business every day to either be like working on AI, learning about AI, playing with AI, we are going to get left behind, because it is exponential. Every 5 to 6 months it's doubling in its capacity. And the little story that really blew my mind is that we can all expect that in about 5 years we will have a chip under our skin that will monitor us medically. Why wouldn't you? If you were told, if you put this chip under your skin, it's going to increase decrease your chances of dying of cancer, of course we're going to do it. We wear watches, we wear rings to monitor us, but next is going to be a chip, and that chip will pretty much stay with you for life. It'll have your whole medical history. That's where it's, that's what it's about.
Do you ever think about some of the risks inherent in this, if we hand over more and more to AI and technology, that there may be certain skills? You talked before about using AI as an aggregator, as a calculator, but then we then don't have those skills. We then don't know what the AI is doing, and it's just making decisions for us and telling us an output without actually knowing. Does that ever factor into your thinking with what you're asking Claude to do?
Definitely, and I think, as with most things in society, we do have to rely on our governments putting in place some regulations to control that, because, we have learned that profit-led companies never self-moderate, as we've seen with what's happened with social media. So there's still so many ethical, environmental issues around AI, but I had a similar experience at this conference maybe 10 years ago. So in the beginning, Google was free. Like, we never paid a cent to build our business. Biome held like the #1 SEO position for water bottle term for 10 years. There was nobody competing. And I took an ethical standpoint that I didn't want to pay any money to Google. At one of these conferences, I was listening, and it just went, oh my God, if I don't get in on this, I'm gone. If I want to fulfill the mission of my business, I need to play the game or my business won't exist anymore. And for me, it's a similar thing right now with AI.
Now, one of the biggest flexes right now with a lot of big brands in particular is that when they're doing their ad campaigns, they're liking to show how it's actually created. Apple just created a new video showing how their new logo for Apple TV was made, to show it was actually made by hand, not through AI, even though a lot of people thought it was AI. When do you think it's important to balance that? So, Ellen, particularly for you, you're hiring a lot of brand team members, creative team members. What's the brief for them in terms of like where they should use it and where they shouldn't use AI in their creative work in particular?
Well, creative for us, again, we're driven by our creative, so everything we do is hand painted. So the most that team will do is, if there's let's say there's a woman and her arm is facing this way, they might adjust that artwork ever so slightly, but everything is hand done. We also film everything being hand done, and that's something really special to us that isn't going anywhere anytime soon. But it also comes back to our values. I can't remember the example, but something came up, and we have a company conference, and AI was a huge part of this, and they were like, oh, so can we use it for this? And I've gone, well, actually, no, that's not really in alignment with our values and what our customer is seeing. So I think it comes back to us values. But yes, as a brand, compared to a lot of brands probably in the room, everything we do is hand drawn. So happy to throw everything into inventory and ops and speed up that, but that's the one handmade thing we'll hold on to.
Yeah, that's great. And similarly, Tracey, with you, is there any no-go areas for AI, or are you happy for it just to let it run wild and see where it goes?
With content, definitely still the humans have to be so involved in the genesis of the idea that we're writing the content about. Of course, editing it. We definitely do not just let guff or slop, as they call it, out into the world that's AI generated. And then on the graphic design side, it's a tricky one, but out of respect for my graphic designer, I don't as yet want to take away from her professional talents. But I think she is also learning, like you said, about how you can use AI to amplify what you're doing. And yeah.
In our briefing call, we actually had you actually had a nice little story actually around how there's still some things AI can't do. Yeah,
sure, particularly on the creative side. And so this was in December, so not that long ago. We were running a Summer of Hits campaign for Christmas, and you had each day we were matching up a product with a 80s song, and so all the great 80s hits. And one of our products is Swedish dishcloths. And does everybody here know a Swedish supergroup from the 80s? Does ABBA come to mind? Well, AI just could not get it. I was putting into the chat, help me with some song ideas that, match Swedish dishcloths with Swedish music, and it just could not get the ABBA connection. And even when I said it, it said, oh, great idea, but it still couldn't really get it. But as Ellen is saying, perhaps if you did that today, it would work. It's, again, just how quickly it's moving. But we certainly in our team preface all of our ideas. If you sort of have a disclaimer when you're doing a brainstorm, and if you've got a really good idea, you make sure you let everybody know that I thought of that, it wasn't AI.
Yeah, I love that. And Liv, similarly, like for you, like what are some of those risks where you're thinking of about why you're not letting AI do certain things, particularly around like your brand or your community?
Yeah, there's a few. So, like the customer service one, for example, first. I know it's getting better, so I'm sure it's a lot better now than it was when we implemented it. We trialled Gorgeous AI. Again, sorry if Gorgeous in the room. It consistently got things wrong. We couldn't monitor the emails before they were sent out. I know there's a lot of training involved and prompting, but we have written a macro for every possible solution. So we essentially are kind of using our own version of AI. But it was just that cost of like losing that relationship with the customer, the cost of a poor experience. We work so hard to get our customers and they're so quick to write you off as well. And then the flip side of that is AI doesn't understand nuance. So even though it might tell you that this is the priority of events in your inbox, it doesn't really always understand. So things can get missed. And there's opportunities that we've had where we still tailor things. And I know that people probably think that's crazy if you're a scaling business. And we're a pretty substantial business. We've got 25 team members, markets all over the world, but we still customize every single customer service touch point. Last week, a woman was thinking she was going to get proposed to, and she really wanted a pair of our boots. She didn't know if they were going to arrive in time. We bent over backwards to make sure that happened, and that's why I still have my fulfillment all in-house as well. We then the next day got photos of her. He did propose. She's now engaged.
That was my next question.
Yeah, and it's just like not only is that story beautiful and the grassroots marketing and the customer acquisition essentially is free when she talks about that, but it also gives the team energy and they're proud of what they've done and we're connecting with our community like cross-border. So I just think that's something that I never want to lose because it's something that I care a lot about and it helps me get up in the morning as well. That's probably one of the main ones. I had another thought, but it's just gone out of my brain. The thing that you were saying about you don't want to lose certain skills. So I have even noticed it in myself. Where I'm a founder, we're founders, we're critical thinkers, we're problem solvers, we're creative. But I've already started to notice my skills just from using chats and things like that. I'm getting lazy. I default to, let me just run that through. And I fear losing those skills because I've built them over a lifetime and they're unique to me. And AI is going to make everything sort of sound the same. Like I hear you tell that story about 80s songs, but like, wouldn't that be fun doing that because you love 80s music and you grew up during that time? Like you lose the energy behind the purpose of that post if you give it to a computer to do. Anyway, that's my perspective.
Yeah, so everything is created by algorithms, instead of actually by that human intuition. Because I think that you're right about those moments of serendipity can't be replicated by machines. It's a magical moment. The machine would have said, "Don't send it. Sorry, we can't get it to you on time." But only that human touch could have done that. So going back on what you just talked about before in terms of losing those skills, where do you think that leads future generations in terms of like what AI will give them, but also what it's going to take away from them?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting and I can't predict the future, but I do see a future where I just think the skills are going to be different to our skills and it's exciting. I like to remain positive. I feel like we're going to need to work together a lot more. So just like we should connect with the older generations too. Like they have a unique perspective that we don't and you can always learn something from other people. So I'm excited that the generations are probably going to have to actually get closer because we're going to have lived through such different experiences.
Tracey, any thoughts on that?
One of the podcasts I listened to, the person was a futurist and he was calling himself a technology optimist. And he believes that AI is going to get us to a utopia, but on the way, it's going to be extremely messy. It's going to be so disruptive. A lot of people are going to lose roles will change, etc. So he was saying the most important thing is that through it all, we look after the humans. So similarly, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen, but I do know that what we can do is make sure that along the way that the humans are cared for, and what we end up at the end is a much better quality of life for everyone, because otherwise what's the point?
A Chinese court last week made a ruling in a province where they said that it was actually illegal to make an employee redundant if you were replacing them with AI. And you mentioned before around the guardrails as well, particularly government and regulations around that. Where do you think we are in terms of that? Do you think there's enough being done in that space at the moment to be looking at those impacts of the lack of regulation around AI?
No, not yet. Certainly not in Australia.
And Ellen, on your side, you're implementing all these tools, but you're also building the team as well. So how does the team feel about that in terms of do any of them feel that AI is coming to replace their jobs, or have they all embraced it as an opportunity?
Oh, no, absolutely. That when you're being fed with the marketing bros being like, marketing teams are no longer needed. Of course, the marketing team have been going, Ellen, you're pushing AI. Again, that's part of what I was talking about, is getting the team on board and educating and being like, you're not going anywhere, but I do expect this. And we want to be removing the upload. We want to be removing these monotonous tasks that no one enjoys doing. So that we can do more fun things. So for us, we already have stores, we're expanding our stores. We already have a brand presence, we're expanding that, we're doing more events. So, I think just that expansion for the team and education that, there's going to be change. I'm not naive to sit in front of the team and be like, no one's losing their jobs. But it's up to me as a founder to make sure as we're hiring, it's in our JDs. We know where a division might be going. So our inventory, traditionally, how many layers do you need in that team? That's not going to be the same anymore. So making sure that we're hiring strategists and people that aren't just moving a box or a mouse around. So, or having to learn those skills. So I know we've spoken about this as well in terms of some of the juniors coming up and what the expectations will be of those people and what they've just gone and studied. So I do think there is some mess to come. I think also if you're a values-led, people-led brand, you're going to make the right decisions, you're going to move people around roles. But absolutely, there's heaps of businesses that don't care.
And you were recently in China as well. You just got back from China on Sunday, was that? Or Monday morning? So when you were there, what was your experience with technology and AI there? Was there much conversation around how it was being used versus to here? Are they more bullish on it or bearish?
Yes, I do think there is a bit more regulation coming in, and I do think there needs to be some more regulation in Australia. But there was one thing that was really scary for me in China. Obviously, China or America, leaps and bounds ahead of where we are. But I was walking down, and way too many stands had, we were at Canton Fair, had dancing robots. For me, creepy. That is so creepy. But one thing that stood out is there was a whole stand of 5 robots in a VM sense, showcasing some gym and ski gear. So it doesn't align with our brand, but absolutely, if you forward think 10, 20 years down the line, that's going to be in our windows, potentially. They were mannequins. And then there was also random things being like, get your mum and dad this gift for Father's Day, Mother's Day. It'll be the best gift you'll get. And I was like, how is this creepy thing a gift? But, it's definitely we are in the movies right now. We've seen all the movies. We're in this at the moment. So, again, I think as a brand, it's really important that you... if you've got a team, taking your team through this change in all these AI conversations that we're having, we also have, people coming in to talk about change management. So I know I sound loose and I'm just the team have no choice. We put the guardrails, we give the people to make everyone feel safe, but I'm not naive. There is a lack of safety regardless of what we're doing.
I personally would like a robot to pick up after my kids so I can spend more time playing the guitar. So, yeah.
Cleaning. It can come and clean.
It won't cook, though. I love cooking. I'm never giving that up. Liv, on your AI journey, what do you think is next for you? What are you looking to next in terms of where you're looking to go with it?
Good question. I think what's important to ask first is what are the problems that you're actually solving? Because it's really easy just to be like, oh, look at all these shiny new things. I've had so many tech partners come up to me today, especially after my other talk. They're like, you need this, you need this, you need this, like shoving it down my throat. And I'm like, sure, but everything they're telling me is not currently a problem within my business. So I just need to make sure that I'm like sense checking that when I do it. I do think that the best thing for me to do would probably reach out to like a generalist consultant, an AI consultant that might be able to do like an audit of my business and identify the biggest gaps or opportunities so that I'm not just flying blind and picking one that sounds cool or fun. And then, yeah, again, sense checking that against our values and what value it's actually going to provide for our business. But I do believe, we were just talking about it before, and I think what's important is, especially, I'm sure there's like lots of founders here or maybe earlier in their journey as well, and it's quite overwhelming. And even I listen to this and I get stressed and I'm like, crap, I'm behind. And there's almost like a sense of like fear mongering as well. And I think you just have to, just be careful what you listen to and make sure that you're getting a blended view, because you could default to like, I need to do that. And when I was going through really tough stuff in my business last year, I had to make decisions and I could have gone down AI, but I knew that would kill my soul. I was like, it's not why I started this business. It's not why I do what I do. It's not why I get out of bed in the morning. So I decided to double down on the stuff that I really loved, because I knew that would in turn give me the energy to keep going as well. So I'm definitely pro AI and I'm excited about it, and I just don't want to get overwhelmed and distracted by it.
And Tracey, what's next for you? What are you looking to next?
I want what Ellen's got. but similar to what Liv is saying, I need help. I don't have the time to get, I don't know how you did it, Ellen. I don't have the time to get there right now. But so I am just taking it in small pieces. But I think you mentioned before, you have the advantage that technology is catching up very quickly. So say with we've got this on-site chatbot. So it's not the customer service, but it's, hey, what are you looking for today? What can we help you with? I'm looking for a plastic-free gift. The quality of what this bot is, who we call B, who buzzes around the site to help you with your decisions, the quality of what they are recommending, my team never be able to do that. We could not go to that kind of depth or have the time to do that with those customers. Now, I've been wanting to do that for 2 years. 2 years at this conference. I thought, we've really got to, because we're a very education-based business, all about sustainability. But at that time, to have one, I would have literally had to build one. Last year was like, yeah, it's getting closer. A month ago, I thought, shoot, I'm going to Retail Fest again. There is no way I'm going to have on my to-do list do the on-site chatbot. It's been on my list for 2 years. I'm not going to another expo and having that on my to-do list. And so 15 minutes, I had a chatbot on the site, and it is so good.
And Ellen, the trailblazer on the panel, what is next for you?
I think my keyword is amplification. So I'm already obviously pretty entrenched, and the team, it's rolling out across in very different levels, but they're about to get their marketing and ops agents that, pair Meta, Sin7, Shopify, Google Ads. So like you get I already have this, but they're getting their own versions now. Their little dashboards, like I have a CEO dashboard, so a marketing dashboard with data that would normally take them however long to sift through and pair. And yes, there's already platforms that pair some of it, but nowhere near the levels we're talking about. So that's happening right now. Literally shot the email being like, hey, we're 5 days late. Where's this at? And then it's the media projects, like I was saying, like actually replacing some of our third-party partners, because they're not perfect. And we do find problems, and we're very, very complex business. So being able to make our own anything is our next step. But yeah, rolling across everything, brand in mind, but yeah.
Ellen, Tracey, Liv, thank you very much for being on the panel.
Thanks, Mal.
Thank you.